Dear student, today we are going to solve some questions from the chapter number 10, that is states of matter, gaseous and liquid state. From this chapter, the first question is define the term hydrogen bond. As a student, you have already aware about the hydrogen bonding. Actually, what is hydrogen bonding? So, hydrogen bond is nothing but a special type of dipole-dipole attraction which occur when hydrogen atom is bonded to a strongly electronegative atom or an atom with a lone pair of electron. So it is the definition of the hydrogen bonding. Means hydrogen bond is a special type of dipole-dipole attraction which occur when a hydrogen atom is bonded with a strongly electronegative atom or an atom with a lone pair of electron. Student, always remember hydrogen bonds are generally stronger than the usual dipole-dipole and dispersion forces and weaker than true covalent or ionic bonds. Means there are two conditions for the hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is generally stronger than the dipole-dipole and dispersion force and weaker than true covalent or ionic bond. So, in short, what is the definition of hydrogen bond? Means the electrostatic force of attraction between positively polarized hydrogen atom of one molecule and a highly electronegative atom of the other molecule is called hydrogen bond. Strong electronegative atom that form hydrogen bonds are example of that atom which form hydrogen bonds are oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine, etc. And always remember hydrogen bond is denoted by dotted line. If dotted line is there, it means that it show hydrogen bond. And hydrogen bond are of two type. Hydrogen bond are of two type. Whenever hydrogen bond will occur within single molecule, it represent intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Student, always remember there are two type of hydrogen bonding. One is intramolecular hydrogen bonding, another is intermolecular hydrogen bonding. As you have seen on your screen, there are two types of example. One is hydrogen, one is water, and another is ammonia. So always remember student, whenever hydrogen bond occur in a or whenever hydrogen bond which occur within a single molecule represent intramolecular hydrogen bonding. And the example of intramolecular hydrogen bonding is, the common example of intramolecular hydrogen bonding is ethylene glycol. Another is intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So these two examples are for intermolecular hydrogen bonding in which hydrogen bond present between two like or unlike molecule. It is called intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So water and ammonia both are the example of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Means whenever hydrogen bond present between two like or unlike molecule. The next question in today's lecture is consider three compounds. See student, there are three compounds. One is H2S, another is H2S. As you know, H means hydrogen, S means sulfur. H2 again hydrogen, S is selenium, and H2O, you all are aware about H2O means water. We have to identify which has the highest boiling point and we have to justify our answer. So in this three compound, first one hydrogen has the smallest molecular mass but it has the highest boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. H2S, hydrogen sulfide, having 60 degree boiling point, and hydrogen selenide having minus 41.25 degree Celsius boiling point. The extraordinary high boiling point of water is due to very strong hydrogen bonding even though it has lowest molecular mass. Always remember student, water having highest boiling point, but it is having smaller molecular mass, and the reason behind this is water is having hydrogen bonding, that's why it is having a highest boiling point. The next question is, explain the relation between intermolecular forces and thermal energy. As a student, all of you know what is thermal energy. So thermal energy is nothing but a kinetic energy. Thermal energy is nothing but a kinetic energy. Means actually thermal energy is the measure of kinetic energy of the particle of matter that arises due to the movement of particle. And always remember, it is directly proportional to the temperature. It means that thermal energy increase with the temperature. Always remember. I am repeating, thermal energy is the measure of kinetic energy of the particle of matter that arises due to the movement of particle. And thermal energy is always directly proportional to the temperature. It means that whenever temperature increases, thermal energy also increases. Now we know that three states of matter are there, and consequence of balance of between the intermolecular forces of attraction and the thermal energy of the molecule. There are three states of matter: gas, liquid and solid. So three states of matter are the consequence of a balance. These three states are the consequence of balance between the intermolecular forces of attraction and the thermal energy of the molecule. As you have seen that when a substance is to be converted from gaseous state to solid state, its thermal energy has to be decreases. At this stage, intermolecular forces become more important than thermal energy of the particle. If intermolecular forces are very weak, molecules do not come together to make liquid or solid unless thermal energy is decreases while lowering the temperature. So these all are about the intermolecular forces and thermal energy. The next question is, derive the relationship between density and pressure. So student, as you know, what is pressure? Pressure is defined as the force per unit area. Means pressure is equal to force upon area F upon A. Density is equal to mass upon volume. For this derivation, we have to remember the Boyle's law. And what is the Boyle's law? For a fixed mass of a gas, or you can say at constant temperature, the pressure of fixed amount of a gas varies inversely with its volume. Means P is inversely proportional to the volume at constant temperature and pressure. So we are applying here Boyle's law. P is inversely proportional to the volume, and P is equal to K1 into 1 upon V. That's why whenever you transfer V from the opposite side of the equal, so it will become PV is equal to K1. What is the Boyle's law? P is equal to K1 upon V. P is equal to K1 upon V. Whenever we have to find out the formula for K1, so K1 is equal to PV. Then V is equal to K1 upon P. P here in the multiplication position, opposite side of the equal, it will become in the divide position. And we know that the formula of density D is equal to M upon V. So in place of V, we have to put here K1 upon P. Whenever we simplify the formula, we will get D is equal to M upon K1 into P. And M upon K1 is nothing but a K, and it is called constant. K is nothing but a constant. So what is remaining here? If it is K is constant and we remove the constant and equal sign, so what we will get? D is directly proportional to P. So above equation shows that at constant temperature, pressure is directly proportional to the density of a fixed mass of a gas. Now the next question is about, again, explain Boyle's law. So what is the Boyle's law? There are two statements for the Boyle's law. One is for a fixed mass. Fixed mass is number of mole of gas is fixed. For a fixed mass of a gas at constant temperature, pressure of a gas inversely proportional to the volume of a gas. The next is at constant temperature, the pressure of fixed amount means number of mole of a gas varies inversely with its volume. In short, at constant temperature and fixed amount or number of mole, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Whenever we remove the proportion sign, we have to put here a constant, and the constant is K1. So, whenever we have to find out the formula for K1, so K1 is equal to PV. This is the derivation for the Boyle's law. Means when fixed amount of a gas at constant temperature occupying volume V1, means suppose that when a fixed amount of a gas at constant temperature T occupying volume V1 initially at pressure P1 undergo expansion or compression, volume of a gas change to P2 V2. So, according to Boyle's law, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 is equal to constant. Why? Because PV is equal to K1 and K1 is constant. Similarly, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 is equal to constant. Why? Because PV is equal to constant. So here we are taking the volume of a gas V1, temperature T which is constant, pressure P1, it is undergo either expansion either compression. So volume of a gas change to V2 and pressure P2. And what is the formula? P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 is equal to constant. Here is the diagram from which we can understand easily the Boyle's law. So student, it is enough for the today's lecture. In the next lecture we will see the more question from the another chapter. Thank you so much.